Hey guys, Michael here. Thanks everyone for being here early or on time. We're starting 1 minute early, but I thought I'd jump on and say hi. And how's everyone's day going? It is 10:15, 10:14 here in London, and I've just had a session with one of my clients, and we're going to talk for about half an hour today. Yesterday's session was just over an hour. The day before was also just over an hour. We're going to do half an hour live Q&A today, so I can answer your questions, and then I'll be going live again tomorrow. Answering more of your questions. Okay, so who's here? Send a message, say hi, let me know who's here, and then I can say hi back, and we can get into this. So yeah, look forward to getting some messages from you. Oh, hi Sam, thanks for coming back. And Jonathan, thanks for coming back as well. Really pleased to welcome you back. So all this week I'm doing Facebook Lives. Hey Maxon, thanks for coming back again. All this week I'm doing lives to celebrate the fact that we have reached 10,000 subscribers as a channel together. So really excited about that. And also I'm really excited. I'm going to be doing a big promotion on my online course this week, because after 2 years of working non-stop on it, finally got it completed last week. It's been a really long task, and that's why I haven't been posting on the channel recently. So yeah, there's a big promotion coming on that. So let's dive into it. Thanks everyone who's joining. Luca Borna, hey, how you doing? Shanky from India, hey, how's it going? Luciano, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. Luciano, how you doing? How's it going? Sam says, great work in the new course content, loving it. Awesome, really, really pleased about that. Thank you for being here and for the comments, etc. Much appreciated. So I'm going to ask the first question, which has come from Sam, who has said, how do you know if the N is Okay, good question. So, hey Genevieve, thanks for coming back as well. Welcome back. Luciano from Italy. I thought so. I thought that might be clerical. Is that right? Clerical? Genevieve, also from Italy, I think, potentially. Alex, welcome back. Thanks for tuning in. Right, guys, I'm just going to get straight into this and answer some questions. So, Sam's question is, how do you know if the N sound is pronounced ng? And that's a good question. So first of all, the ng sound, which is one of the main consonants that you really want to make sure that you're getting right, because it can sound very obvious if you're not getting it right, is usually spelt as an NG in English. So if you get the NG spelling at the end of a word in words like thing or eating, the ing ending, you do not pronounce that as an N and a G. It is not finger or eating or long. The word long, never pronounce an N and a G together. If you see the N and the G at the end of a word, it is always pronounced with an ng pronunciation. Now, let me just see. I've taught this before. I'm just going to grab my other phone and then I can shine a light into my mouth and you can see what's going on. One sec. Right, got a torch here that I can now show you what's going on for ng. So again, I've taught this before, and if you want more help with this, watch this on the channel, okay? Because I think I've taught it 2 or 3 times already. But for ng, the back of the tongue in here touches the back of the soft palate in the same position that you'd make k or g. So if you can make a as in king, king, or g, 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 as in got, that is the tongue position for the sound. As in thing, 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 or eating. Okay. If you get an NK spelling, for example, thank, what's going to happen is you're going to get the N would be pronounced as an So yesterday on the live, we taught how to say thanks and thank. Okay. If you get an N before a K in one syllable, so they're not split over two syllables. It's not, for example, well, I can't think of an example, but if you've got the N and the K in one syllable, typically in a single syllable word like thank, you don't pronounce an N, you pronounce an and then you pronounce the K afterwards. Okay, so yeah, so that's a good example. Thankful, thankful. In the word thankful, the F is the start of the next syllable. Thankful, thankful, thankful. Okay, if I say the word thank on its own, thank, thank, thank. Can you see how there's no N there? I'm not saying thank, it's thank. All right. Make sure you're making the ng sound and not the N. And guys, if you have trouble making the ng sound, I really recommend watching my tutorials on this on the channel here, okay? Because there's three main consonants you don't want to get wrong in English, okay? These are the three main consonants that can affect the sound of your pronunciation. One is the R, the English R, R. One is the th and consonants, and the third one is the and making a g at the end of a word instead of a okay? They're the three main things I'd say to you to get right away if you don't know where to start, okay? Those three things are really key, and most people need to do some work on them if they want to improve their pronunciation, okay? It's very rare that I work with someone that doesn't need to do any work on those three sounds, okay? So I hope that clears that up. What's another question? So, okay, so Jonathan has asked, how do you pronounce the word? So there's two ways you can pronounce this word, okay? All right, Maxon, I will. Let's do this right. Okay, Jonathan, I'm going to answer your question in a second because Maxon has just asked if we can put the NK or ng into some words. So an example would be think. Let me put the light back on here again. Here we go. Think. What do you think about it? What do you think about it? You could also put that into the continuous. I'm thinking. I'm thinking. I'm thinking. That's an interesting word. Can you see how my tongue, thinking, there's two ngs there together. Thinking, thinking. Okay, so you want to make sure that you're getting both of the ngs in there. Okay, right. Maxon says thanks. So I think that's probably cleared up this one. So guys, I'm going to move on to the next topic now, all right, and answer another question. But as I said, if you want more help with this and lots more example words, then just check out my tutorials on the course. Okay. Edmund's asked a question. I'll get to that afterwards, Edmund, okay, because I was just about to answer another question from Hong Kong. Nice. I was in Hong Kong last year in Chimp Paradox. I love Hong Kong. It's one of my favourite cities. So I'll answer Jonathan's question, which was how to pronounce the word schedule. There's really two ways that you can pronounce this word, okay? And I'm just going to double check, because as far as I am aware, both ways to pronounce the word are correct, but I want to make sure that I am teaching this correctly. So just double check one thing. Yeah, so the way that you would pronounce it in British English pronunciation is sh, the sh sound, and then afterwards, schedule, where you're making a sh sound and then going straight into the vowel sound after it. The reason why I just looked this up in the dictionary is because you'll also very commonly hear this word being pronounced with a K sound, schedule. Okay, now the dictionary says that that is the American pronunciation of this word, okay, schedule. However, you'll hear them both being used in English, okay? So if you want to be correct and learn the British pronunciation of this word, it's schedule, schedule. If you want the American pronunciation, it's schedule, ska. You've got a s sound followed by a k sound, schedule. But both of them are okay, all right? No one would tell you that you're pronouncing it incorrectly if you say either of those words, okay? So does that answer the question, Jonathan? I hope that does. Let me see if you got that right. There was a video, Jonathan has said there was a video where I explained the gap in the mouth for sounds. That was very helpful. Okay, awesome, good. Let's just see what else here. I'm going to move on to the next question now. Alex has said, how do you pronounce the? How do you pronounce to the? Okay, so Alex's question is, how do you pronounce to the? I'm guessing you mean, for example, I'm going to the park today. I'm going to the park today. And Alex says that he always stumbles when he says this in a phrase. Now, the reason why you will be stumbling is probably because you're pronouncing the word to with the strong pronunciation. So both words, to and the, have a strong pronunciation and a weak pronunciation. This is very important, okay? You only use the strong pronunciation of a word, which is typically how you learn the word, if you're stressing it. Let me explain. If I'm going to say, I'm going to the park, and I'm stressing that I'm going to the park, if I'm stressing that word to, I'm going to use the strong pronunciation of it, which is to, the T sound and the long oo vowel sound, to. But if I'm using it in an unstressed position, which is how I would normally use it, I'm going to use it as an unstressed syllable, which means I'm going to use the weak pronunciation of it. So if I use the weak pronunciation of the word to, it is the T sound followed by the schwa sound So instead of saying I'm going to the, or I'm going to the park, I'm going to say I'm going to, I'm going to, I'm going to. Okay, I'm going to. Can you hear to is very different to to. We use the weak pronunciation to make the word easier to say and to make English flow more naturally, okay? By having weak syllables and strong syllables, that's what gives English its stress, which is, English is a stressed language, okay? So the first thing that you want to make sure there, Alex, is that you're saying to and not to, unless you're stressing the word to. Okay. The same thing would also apply to the word the. Okay. The strong form of the word the is the. Okay. The. But we very rarely ever use the pronunciation of the word the in English. Again, unless we're stressing it, we'd either use the pronunciation the, which is plus schwa sound, the. If the word comes before a consonant, for example, the park. If we're using the weak form of the word the before a vowel, we'd use the weak vowel sound E, so the apple. Okay, I won't explain the in too much detail now because I posted a video on the channel about a month ago explaining all three pronunciations of the word the. This is something that you really want to get right, okay, because the is probably the most commonly used word in English, or one of the most common words in English. So you really want to get this word right. There's three pronunciations to it, and I teach all three pronunciations in that tutorial. Okay, so just simply to summarize your question, Alex, you're probably the majority of the time going to want to use the weak form of both words. So instead of saying, I'm going to the park, which sounds very unnatural because it's all very stressed, I'd say, I'm going to the park, to the. I'm going to the park, okay? Everyone probably can benefit from watching this here, okay? It's really important to take your pronunciation to the next level. Using the weak forms of words where they should be used is a really, really valuable thing to do, okay? So it's worth doing. Alex says it makes sense, good. And Sam has watched the tutorial and he says that he found it really useful, good. I'm glad. So everyone, if I could give you one takeaway from this lesson, I'd say go and watch that tutorial, okay? Because if you haven't watched it already, it'll really, really help your English, okay? So let's see, what was some other questions that came in? So Max has just put a good point here. He's asked, is it like one word? It kind of is. It's kind of like, I've got my notebook here. Let me just write it down. So in terms of like stress levels in English, if you're saying a phrase, I'm going to the supermarket, I'm going to the shop, okay? Let's just say I'm going to the shop. Going you'd stress the first syllable in going, I'm going, and then you'd have to the would be low stressed, like it would kind of sound like one word, but two syllables, to the. And both syllables would be quieter and less stressed than the words that come either side. So I'm going you'll see what I'm doing in just a second. In terms of stress, it would be like I'm going to the and then shop would be louder. I'm going to the shop. I'm going to the shop. I'm going to the shop. Okay, this here is the strength of each syllable, and to the would be much quieter and weaker. Okay, I'm going to the shop. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense. It's useful thinking of stressed and unstressed syllables like this because the unstressed syllables are always much quieter and usually quicker than the stressed syllables. And I talked quite a lot about stressed and unstressed syllables yesterday. So if you want more info on that, watch yesterday's live. Okay? Right, let me have a quick drink and then I'll answer the next question. How's everyone doing? Are we finding this useful? I hope so. Thanks all for tuning in, by the way. I really appreciate you being on these lives. It's great for me to be able to interact with you and answer your questions. I really enjoy it. and I'm pleased that hopefully you're getting value from it too. Zenny has asked, help with the word and world. Zenny, I taught both of those words on the live yesterday. So I would recommend, I won't teach them again now, go back through the live yesterday, and you'll see me teaching those words there, because I talked about the sound and how to get it right, and how to use the R sound, which isn't actually there in those words. Okay, so I won't teach that now because I did teach it yesterday. Okay, but the live is still there, so you can go and watch. You can just watch it after this if you'd like. Perfect practice, excellent. Luciana says simply perfect. Good, thank you very much. I'm glad this has been useful. So let me just see any other questions. Let's see there. Yeah, useful as usual. Good, I'm glad. Right, guys, ask me another question. What's the next question? Edmund has asked, how do you pronounce comfortably? That's a really good question, Edmund. If you're from Hong Kong and your native language is Cantonese, what you might have difficulty here with is the consonant cluster, because in Cantonese, usually you get a vowel sound after each consonant. And then when you get multiple consonant clusters coming together in English, that can be really challenging. And actually, if anyone here, if we've got any other Japanese speakers or Mandarin speakers or Cantonese speakers, one of the main things that you can do to maximize your confidence in English is to work on getting comfortable practicing consonant clusters. Because what tends to happen is if you're not used to pronouncing multiple consonants together in English, what happens is you drop consonants where they shouldn't be dropped. So, for example, someone who I'm working with at the moment is from Taiwan, and same thing, Mandarin is his language. And one thing that we were finding was that in words like movement, for example, where you've got the v, consonants come together, movement, he was dropping the V sound. So instead of saying movement, he was saying movement, and there was no V sound there. So I made him aware of the fact that he was dropping the V sound. He then just spent a while practicing vm, 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 which is the consonant cluster. And by working on that consonant cluster, he could then say movement really clearly, and then he could also say improvement really clearly as well. So, Edmund, this is a really big tip that you can apply to all of your English, is work on consonant clusters, okay? Because that's where you're going to probably make the biggest improvements, all right? To answer your question, how do you pronounce the word comfortably? So let's break it down. Come. Again, I'm going to get this up on the dictionary actually, just because I want to make sure. Because what happens is when we say this word quickly, we tend to just pronounce it slightly differently in English. So yeah, okay, cool. Cambridge Dictionary is saying that I would pronounce it as I do pronounce it, so that's good, just to double check. So a few different syllables. The first syllable is come, K sound, come. If you have a native language like Russian, make sure you're making a clean k and not a h. Okay, come. Then it's a weak syllable, f, comfer. And then sorry, I was just looking here at the dictionary. Then t, weak syllable t, and then blee. Comfortably. Now, what you might hear is the first two syllables there, comfort, kind of becoming one. So comfortably. If I was to say this, naturally, the way I say it is comfortably. Comfortably. I'll say that even slower to make sure that I'm making this clear. Comfortably. So I'm doing a fta, fta, fta. It's like I'm dropping the schwa sound out of it to get fta. Comfortably. Comfortably. Okay, so I'm saying comfortably. 3 syllables, and be careful of the consonant combinations. Comfortably. Blee, blee, blee. Okay, does that make sense? So Maxon from Poland is saying it sounds like come for. Oh, hang on. For him, it sounds like the 4 is quiet. Yeah, yeah. So that's a good point. Like I said, when I first said it there, I said comfortably, right? But in quicker speech, what's going to happen is it's going to be comfortably, 3 syllables. Okay, what tends to happen in English is you often get schwa sounds in unstressed syllables that can sort of disappear in quick speech. So instead of comfortably, 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 comfortably. Okay, does that make sense? I hope so. Also, if you see me getting a little bit distracted, it's because the comments are coming up on the screen now, so that often just like captures my attention. But yeah, I hope that's been clear. Edmund says, yeah, cool. Glad that's helped, Edmund. Manny, hey Manny, how you doing? Thanks for tuning in. Has asked, how can I pronounce which word is pronounced short A, which word is long A sound? Okay, good question. How can you pronounce, so let me make sure I understand the question correctly. So I think what you're, so let me just, I'll give you the key differences here between the short A sound and the long R sound, okay? And hopefully that will be useful, everyone. So let's take the words cat and cart, all right? Cat versus cart. So those 2 words are exactly the same, apart from the short English vowel sound A and the long English vowel sound R. What I'm going to do now is just explain the difference between these 2 sounds. And then what I really recommend, if you didn't watch yesterday's live, is yesterday I taught 2 concepts to do with stress and something called pre-fortis clipping, which can make these 2 sounds sound very, very similar. Okay, so I'm not going to teach them again here because I spent a long time teaching them yesterday. I recommend watching that to help develop your understanding between similar sounds like A and R. For now, let me just teach the position. Okay, so for cat with a short English vowel sound A, I'll say it slowly and I'm going to stress the position here so it's really obvious. A, A, A. My mouth is wider open, my lips are wide apart, A, A, A. My lips are also wide apart height-wise. When I'm teaching this sound on its own, I say that you can get 2 fingers, A, 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 in between your teeth. A, 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 cat, cat, cat. Okay, you can also see my top teeth. A, 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 cat. And my lips are so wide, A, 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 that if I had 2 pens on either side of my lips, I could even poke myself in my eyes. Okay. Now, I'm stressing the sound here to make it extra clear. If I'm speaking quickly and I use the word cat, then I'm not going to stress the position that much. But you want to make sure that when you learn this sound you're doing this with your mouth so that you can feel how the sound sounds. Okay, that's really important. Okay, so that's the structure to make this sound. The one thing I didn't mention there is my tongue, is at the front of my mouth, and it's right behind my teeth. Cat, cat, cat. Okay? And it's a short English vowel sound. For R, it's, first of all, it's a long English vowel sound. R. Okay? Second of all, look at my lips. R. For my lips are wide apart and there's tension. For R, my lips are more relaxed. Ka, and they're closer together. Ka, tight. Ka. My lips are relaxed and they're closer together. For R, you can't see my teeth either. Cat. Cart. Okay? And for R, the tongue is much further back in the mouth. Let me get my light, and you can see again. I'm going to just shine a light into my mouth, and look at my tongue. For R, my tongue pulls further back in the mouth. Okay? Cat, cart. All right? So those are the differences. Does that make sense? Okay, I hope that makes sense. Just let me know, guys, if you're finding this useful. Let's just see any comments that have come through that I've not seen. And yeah, and by the way, if you have trouble with these two sounds, a really good thing to do once you've gone through the position by following what I'm doing here and have learned the position, is to write down some words that have these sounds in that you know that you use every day. So, for example, if you are, let's say you're an accountant, for example, and every day you know that you're going to use the word card, or card, right? Write that word down and then consciously use that word and think about using that word correctly every day with the R sound in. Me teaching you pronunciation will show you how to make the sounds and how to make the sounds clearly. But then, excuse me, the next step is for then you to actually work on actually proactively putting this into your English speaking. And the best way to do that is to think about, where would I use this sound in my speaking? What are some words I know that I use? And then you just take those words and then consciously think about using them in your English speaking. Okay? So that's a really good tip there. It might seem like a simple thing to do, but it's a big, big thing to actually putting this stuff into your English speaking. Okay? Now, a question, Rustam, hi Rustam, thanks for tuning in and thanks for asking this question here. Rustam has asked how to overcome nervousness while speaking. Okay, that's a good question. There's kind of two things here, okay, and I'm going to talk a little bit about some psychology here, because I'm really interested in psychology, and psychology basically has a lot to do with how confident you feel. So there's kind of two things that come to overcoming nervousness when you're speaking. The first thing is doing what we're doing here together, which is learning to speak English clearly and overcome difficulties that you're having so that you know that you're speaking clearly and feeling confident in your pronunciation. Okay, that's the first thing, and that's really for long-term success, that's the best way to do this. another thing to think about in terms of being nervous when you're speaking is the way your brain works is you've kind of got like two different brains in your head. You've got your human brain, which is who you are as a person. You're probably calm, you're relaxed, you're logical, and you're rational. And then you've got the animal brain, which is it's your brain that's there to keep you alive. It's the one that makes you scared or angry. It's the brain that makes you eat and do all these different things. And the animal brain is much, much stronger than the human part of your brain. So when you're going to do something like speak in English or give a presentation, what happens is when you experience anything in life, first of all, the blood supply in your brain goes to the animal part of it. And then the animal part of your brain basically assesses that information for danger. Is this a dangerous situation? Is this a situation I need to be concerned about, anxious about? And the problem is, if your brain or your animal brain feels it's in an uncomfortable situation, it's going to keep the blood supply in your animal brain and then give you negative emotions like nervousness, anxiety, and stress, right? So there's different ways you can do this, and there's a book that I really recommend anyone reads where I learned a lot of this stuff from, called, in English, the book's called The Chimp Paradox. It teaches you how to actually work with your mind to manage things like nervousness and anxiety. But the number one tip that I can give you after learning pronunciation is to think about this, okay? Let's say you've got to give a presentation in English to native English speakers. So you're feeling a bit nervous about it and your animal brain is going crazy. That's really interesting. Okay, guys, Sam has just said the Chimp Paradox fixes road rage. The Chimp Paradox, for me, has been a massive book in terms of helping me to manage things like anxiety and stress and things like that. And what I've just taught you has come right out of that book. And Sam's just said it's helped him to overcome road rage. So there's a testimonial right there for why you should work on this. Okay, it's really, really good. It's really good. And the guy that wrote it has had a big impact on my sort of like well-being and stuff. So I really recommend it. So just to finish what I was saying there, if you know that you're going to give a presentation, say, or a job interview in English, your animal brain will be going crazy because it's thinking, I'm going to be being judged by these people. These people might think I sound weird, or these people might not like me, and I can't make them like me. And when your brain starts thinking all this kind of stuff, the animal brain goes crazy and starts releasing all these bad emotions like stress and anxiety and nervousness. But so what you need to do is basically think, okay, well, like, what am I in control of? I'm in control of doing my best. I can't make these people like me. Like, for example, I'm delivering this tutorial right now, and whether or not you like it is out of my control. I can do my best to do a good lesson here and teach you as much value as possible, but ultimately whether you like it or not is up to you. So I don't control whether or not you like what I'm teaching. And I could think to myself, right now people are watching me and they might not like me, and that could make me really anxious. And in the past, I have had anxiety about doing these kind of things because you might not like it. But then at the end of the day, that's out of my control. So I know that the one thing that I can control is turning up to these presentations, doing my best, being prepared, and wanting, to do a good job and doing my best to do a good job. And if I think to myself, okay, I can't control whether you're going to like this, but I can control whether I do my best. If I know that I'm going to do my best, then, and that's all I can do, that helps me to not feel anxious about doing this kind of thing. Because every time I do a live like this, I will probably mess up at least once. I might like get confused, or I might see a comment and get distracted, and it's not a perfect presentation, okay? And I'm okay with that, because like all I can do is my best, and hopefully you're enjoying it. We're getting lots of good comments saying that you're finding it useful. So, you know, all you can do is your best. And if you can be okay with that, and if you go into a job interview that you're nervous about and just say, well, look, do I have control over whether I get this job? No. But do I have control over preparing and doing my best and being smart and all the rest of it? Yes, you have control over that. And then if it then doesn't go your way, then that's out of your control. But as long as you do your best, you can then be calm and less nervous, because you know that you've done your best. Okay, especially when it comes to things like job interviews, giving presentations, meetings, especially if you have native English speakers in those meetings. When it comes to speaking English, the best thing to do is, one, to be prepared, two, to do the stuff that we work on together here, because you know this is designed to help you be more prepared and be more confident. But the third thing is just to know that you're trying your hardest and that you're doing your best, and that's all you can do. And then if people don't like what you've done, then that's their problem and not yours. Okay, so I hope that helps. I won't kind of go on too much about this now, but like, you can only do your best. I create these tutorials to help you to do your best. Anything beyond that that's out of your control just isn't worth worrying about. Okay, and that's a really good lesson for life. We've talked about the Chimp Paradox today. Like, I'm really interested in psychology in all areas of life, and how we can maximize our performance, how we can maximize our happiness and our mindset. And I'm really interested in fitness and nutrition, so how we can maximize our mindset around all of that. And it all comes down to working with the brains that you have in here, your human, which is you, and the animal, which is, you know, the animal doesn't care about anything. It just basically wants to be happy and safe. So Sam said, just a note to the viewers, I've been working with Michael for several months now, including private one-on-one lessons, and he has really opened up my eyes and showed me all the small steps that I've made. Massive improvements. I'm an entrepreneur, and speaking better will generate me more money. So the investment I have made has really paid off. Sam, I really, really appreciate it. I really appreciate the great comment there. Guys, like Sam has just said, I've been working with Sam one-on-one now, and he's also in my course that I'm promoting this week. And he's made really, really good improvements, like most of you, he's just got the right mindset. He wants to improve. He's worked hard, and he's already had big improvements in confidence and in his pronunciation. So yeah, if you want more help, the course is coming out this week, and I really, really highly recommend checking it out in more detail. Okay, so Sam, thanks very much for the comments. I really appreciate it, and I'm looking forward to speaking in about 15 minutes time. So guys, we've gone off on a bit of a tangent there, but I really hope that that's been useful. Okay, I was only going to talk for half an hour today, and we've talked for almost 45 minutes. So we'll pause things there for today. I'm going to be doing some more lives every day this week. I'm going to do another live tomorrow, another live on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Okay, so there's live tutorials every day this week to get your questions answered. Just let me know in the comments right now, what's been your main takeaway from today? What's been the main lesson that you have learned today? And what for you is the one thing that you're going to really focus on that you've learned today? What's that one thing that you're going to really focus on actually integrating into your English speaking? Because we can do all the, you know, I can teach you everything here, but if you don't then take that away and then try to implement it, it's not going to get you the results that you want. So Sam says he's going to start writing down the words he uses daily, which is excellent. And guys, this is another prime example. I've done some work with Sam. He's been in my course and I've done some work with him. And he's done precisely this. We've looked at areas for improvement, and then he's taken them and actually then worked on integrating them into his speaking. So, you know, what we've just done here, the advice that I've given, the questions I've answered, if you then don't try and implement it, essentially it's not been for any reason. You're not going to have benefited from it. If you take away, focus on one thing, for example, to the weak forms of to the, or the sound, or any of the other things we've looked at, take that away, focus on integrating that into your speaking, and that is then going to mean that the next time that you speak English, you should feel more confident. And talking about nervousness, if you know that you're doing something correctly that you weren't doing correctly before, then that should help with your confidence too. Okay, so let's just see in the comments, just what's something that you're going to do that you've learned from this live today. Let's see. Well, I'll see some comments as they come in. Yeah, so we'll pause it here today. This afternoon, so it's still morning UK time, it's only 11 in the morning. This afternoon, I will let you know what time the live will be tomorrow. It may well be at 9 a.m. UK time. I'll let you know, okay? Probably 9 a.m. UK time tomorrow, all right? Yeah, guys, there's lots more coming this week. I'm looking forward to answering more of your questions. I'm really enjoying interacting with you here on these lives and getting to ask your questions. So make sure you're, coming back and being here for more of the lives. Takeaways from today for me, I would love you to check out the Chimp Paradox as a recommendation. We've got some great testimonials here for how it's helped people. We've also looked at some really, really useful things here today. The weak forms of to the, a few other things as well. So yeah, I'm going to leave it here because I'm going to be speaking to Sam very shortly. So Alex, 10 midday Russian time for you tomorrow. Awesome. I will see you there. Yeah. Any other final comments about how this has been useful before we go or not? Cool. All right, well, I'm going to head off now. Thanks everyone for tuning in. Looking forward to speaking to you all again, hopefully tomorrow, answering some more questions. And Edmund says, enjoying the lesson so much. Good, I'm really glad to hear that, Edmund. Alex says he already has questions for tomorrow. Awesome, good. See you tomorrow. And guys, if you're really interested in getting more support like this and really getting a start to finish end-to-end solution for your pronunciation, I'm doing a really, really exciting promotion on the course this week. It's going to be the biggest promotion I've ever done to celebrate hitting 10,000 subscribers on the channel, and also to celebrate that I've just completed the course after 2 years of hard work. So make sure to be around at the end of the week, where there's going to be a really, really exciting promotion. Okay, I will see you 9 a.m. tomorrow. I'll confirm that this afternoon on the channel, but I'm looking forward to seeing you at 9 a.m. tomorrow. Cheers, and I'll see you then. And one final bonus tip. If you've got any more time to work on your pronunciation today, go and watch the video on the 3 forms of the word the. Okay, because I created a video on the 3 ways to pronounce the word the. Most people pronounce it with the strong form, which is the way that we use it the least in English. Okay, so check that out. That can be one massive takeaway from today. And let me know tomorrow how you've got on with implementing today's advice. Okay, 9 a.m. UK time. Okay, 9 a.m. UK time. So just work out wherever you're based what that will be for you. Awesome. Luciano's found this really useful. Thank you, Luciano. Thanks for your comments. Okay, everyone. Thank you very much for your comments. Really appreciate it. I'm really enjoying doing these, and I'll see you tomorrow at 9 a.m. Okay. Have a great day and keep practicing.